And I think you've covered most of them because of the fame of the person you're taking the selfie with. A lot of people like to be... All right, okay. Because the fame of the person you're there with, I thought a lot of people like to remember that they've been with a celebrity. Just to say I was there, we've had that one. One we didn't have was because it's easier and safer than handing your phone to someone else who might run off with it. And just because you want to be associated with the people that you're there with. Now if this works, or maybe it doesn't. There we go. So first of all we're going to have a look at the wise men. Where are the wise men? Who were the kings? Stand up please, kings. Look kingly. The wise men probably weren't actually kings, they were probably astrologers and astronomers. So we've got pictures up here of some famous scientists. I should have put wise in inverted commas because I know some of them don't really behave wisely sometimes. Do you know who they are? Brian Cox, Patrick Moore and Fred Hoyle. So these kings, these wise men, would look up to the skies and try to work out what was going on. And they looked at the stars and they saw things change. And they thought that when they saw things change in the skies, that it meant things changed on earth. So when they saw the star that God had provided for them, and that brought them to Bethlehem to see the baby. But by the time they got there, of course, he was just beyond a baby, as we saw. He was toddling around. So they knew they'd come to welcome a king into the world, and they brought him gifts. And we had the gifts in the nativity, didn't we? Gold for a king, frankincense is a very special type of incense, only used on certain occasions by high priests. So that tells you that Jesus is a high priest. And myrrh was used in preparation for burial, and that shows you that Jesus is going to be killed. They were called Magi. That was their official title. And first of all they came and they visited King Herod because that's where they thought the baby was most likely to be. But the truth is the baby wasn't with Herod at all. He was in Bethlehem because he was God's son, not the Roman emperor's son. So, who'd like to have a selfie with our wise men? Please do. Come now and take a selfie with our wise men. Wise men, come forward. Anybody else? Okay, so the people who arrived first of all to see Jesus were the shepherds. We've already heard that shepherds were outcasts because they were smelly. But actually shepherds were outcasts for other reasons as well. Mainly because they had to deal with dead sheep a lot, and that made them unclean to the Jews. So, because they were outcasts, they gained a bad reputation. People always thought they were going to be up to no good. But God was pleased to announce the birth of his son to the poorest and the lowest in the land first. So he sent the angel to announce it. He sent a whole load of angels to announce it. How frightening must that have been? You're a poor innocent shepherd, and there you are, on the hills, in the dark, and it does get very dark. And suddenly there's a whole host of angels appear in the sky, singing, "Glory to God in the highest, and peace on earth to men on whom his favour rests." And then as quickly as they appear, they vanish. That's a really great picture in one way, but it just does remind me of a Star Trek phaser blast, I'm sorry. So they had to get up from the darkness and find their way down into the town. No electric light in those days, only candles. They would have had quite a struggle finding their way around. But they did find the baby. Somehow, they did find the baby. Now, I reckon that the shepherds were particularly brave, because if I'd seen those sorts of things happen in the sky, I'd have probably run a mile in the wrong direction. And if they'd had cameras, they would definitely have taken pictures, and they would have been showing everyone they met their picture of the Son of God. So, who'd like to get a picture of the shepherds and the angels? Angels and shepherds, could you stand up, please? Shepherds, come to the front. Come to the front. And the angels, come to the front. There you go. Archie the Archangel. Angels, don't run away, angels. Fantastic. Thank you very much, shepherds and angels. And finally, I guess we come to, in some ways, the supporting acts, the stars, the second stars of our show, Mary and Joseph. Mary and Joseph. Come to the front, Mary and Joseph, while I'm talking about you, please. They already look like husband and wife, don't they? Don't you think? Mary had had an encounter with an angel, as you heard. She was a young woman. She was probably just a teenager, and quite a young teenager at that. She was already planning to get married to Joseph, but then her plans were interrupted by an angel announcing that she would have a baby by the power of the Spirit. And she was told that he would be called the Son of God. And she knew then that he would be even greater than her most famous ancestor, King David. So how would you have felt if an angel had told you something like that? I guess a lot of you would have been terrified. I certainly would. What on earth is God doing? But Mary wasn't. She was a very faithful woman. And she said, I am the Lord's servant. May it be to me as you have said. Now she had the problem, because she had to go and tell Joseph all about this encounter with an angel. And I bet Joseph wasn't too pleased, because Joseph would have naturally thought that she'd been cheating on him with somebody else. But as we saw, what happened to Joseph? Were you? Before that? What happened to you before that? You had an encounter with an angel, didn't you? In a dream. And what did the angel tell you? Everything was going to be great. Yeah? And that you should look after Mary and the baby. But then their plans were interrupted yet again. And they had to go marching off from where they were staying, 70 miles, to the place where Joseph had grown up, because the emperor had decided quite randomly that he wanted to count everybody. So off they walked, and I did notice there was a dead donkey down here somewhere. So clearly they didn't have a donkey, because the donkey died. But the most likely thing is they had to walk the 70 miles, so that would have been about 5 days walking. A heavily pregnant Mary walking 5 days. All you ladies who've been pregnant, how would you have liked to walk 8 hours a day for 5 days in the last stages of your labour? Pretty amazing, eh? That she made it. So, can we have Mary and Joseph at the front? And can we get some selfies with Mary and Joseph? Come on, Mary and Joseph. And so, finally, Jesus was born. Liz, just drop the dead donkey, all right? I've been waiting to say that all service. So Jesus was born, a baby, the eternal Son of God, born to poor parents and laid in straw, in possibly the most unhygienic place you can put a baby, but born to live as a man, born to show us what living as a man is like, born to die so that we might have peace with God and peace with each other. So let's take our selfies now and take them with us through Christmas. And let them remind us that Jesus was born as a man, the Son of the eternal God, for our benefit and for our benefit only. So let's take your selfies with Jesus and all the whole cast. So can we have the whole cast back, please? Mary and Joseph, Mary, can you bring Jesus to the front and show him off? And the sheep and the narrators. While the last pictures are being taken, or perhaps not the last pictures, I don't know, I just want to draw your attention to the final slide. We've had great fun here taking pictures. I've really enjoyed talking to you all, but it would be great if you could share them. So we have a Facebook group called Christchurch Billericay, which is our public group and is open to anybody. If you're on Facebook, we'd love to see some of these pictures that you've taken. Sorry? The address is on the notice sheet if you need to look. If you're on Twitter, then a hashtag selfies with JC would be great, so you can post your pictures there. I've just been told the DM is wrong. It's CM12. But just stick with the hashtag selfies with JC. Or if you really prefer, you can email them to the office at christchurch-billericay.co.uk. We'd love to be able to put a really good spread up, and if we can do it before Christmas, we will try to. So if you can post your pictures today or tomorrow, that would be fantastic. Thanks very much, everyone.